Hello and welcome, folks. Got some Mardu today. Notice how I like to generally avoid like the Simic colors and just play the Mardu colors in any variation. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Anyways, playing Mardu Midrange and Historic. And as the name implies, John Sucks tried Mardu. John Sucks tried Mardu. And the only thing it doesn't beat is green, because green's the best color in Magic, and we all know that. But beyond that, we can definitely put our best attempts in. So when we're putting our best attempts in, obviously there's going to be a removal package. Let's talk about our threats first so we can know where we're going with this. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, card draw, Bob, whatever you want to call it in this case. Just a few copies, not 4, just 3, just to get a few extra cards in there. The one that we have 4 copies of is Magmatic Channeler. As that one's just like, oh, this is a land. This is a useless fatal push against the control deck. You know, that's the kind of thing that we're doing. And we discard those cards to get something a little more valid, even if it might be just a land over the useless spell. Stuff like that. Kroxa is the next major threat. Obviously, just play that and escape that, and you're winning, right? That's how that works. You escape Kroxa, you win. Fine. Against the red, whenever red shows up or any aggro decks, we have a couple copies of Sunscourge Champion. Works in synergy Magmatic Channeler, where we don't have time to be casting that card right now. We need to deal with the opponent going, answer this or you lose the game. So we're going to discard that guy and answer that, or we lose the game. So that's where this is very valid, because we can just eternalize it and get a 4/4 from the graveyard. Quite useful in that sense. And so yeah, eternalize, just pay 4, discard card, it becomes a 4/4, and real good that way. And then Kaya, not so much a threat, kind of a threat, where we might be able to exile some of our opponent's stuff, keep their Euros in check, that kind of thing, especially keep their Euros in check. That's mostly where that goes. Just keep exiling, gain a little bit of life, sure, incidentally, that's fine. Maybe get rid of things like Cat Oven, get rid of their oven with the -1. Or just exile their graveyard and keep that thing under pressure so it happen. It's like, we get rid of it at very awkward times, to say the least. That's the attempt. Anyway, next one, Liliana, Waker of the Dead. The idea being that we just make our opponent discard. We discard lands, whatever, get our Kroxa fueled up. It will beat down on our opponent's life total with losing 3 life when they're empty-handed. It's going to definitely happen. Hazoret the Fervent is the next one. It's nice to have something indestructible that you can just throw at the opponent. It's like, this is a 4-turn clock. You figure out the math behind it. And it's just like, you're not getting rid of this. You find another angle. And that's what we're doing. We're putting another angle into the whole picture. So basically, you know, we're running low on cards, discarding the Magmatic Channeler, Liliana, and so on like that. So having Hazoret is just a good idea, right? We're going to be low on cards. We're forcing our opponent to be low on cards too. So just having something they can't deal with very well seems good. A couple Chandra Torch of Defiance, real sweet. Obviously, you get to the emblem, you win. Then we take all these useless cards and we throw them at the opponent. Seems all right. So then let's get into some of the spells and our general utility here. So we got 3 Thirst, 3 Push, just as an even split. I found that I'm running into Planeswalkers as often as I'm running into small creatures. So yeah, or big creatures, you know, whatever. Just, you know, I'm finding the even split. Then when it comes to some hand hate at 1, we've got 3 Thoughtseize and 2 Specter Shriek. Now I'm finding I'm running into red a lot as well, as you notice by the life gain tactics that I have in here. So Specter Shriek is a very good way to beat down Sultai, but it's also a turn 1 pain-free way to get rid of something in the opponent's hand. We're discarding half our stuff to the ether anyway, so get rid of something that's obviously dead when you see their hand. This card, when used properly, is extremely, extremely good. and will wipe out a lot of opponents. So keep that in mind. Like this card is as good as your skill is at it. So it's a good card to watch out for. It is good hand hate. Thoughtseize, of course, you know, same idea, only pain. So, you know, yeah. Dark Tactics, we have some humans in the deck. These guys. This guy. So, we can run the... We can not lose life to certain things, but we can exile creatures. So, exile cat at a certain time. Exile anything, honestly, just because we don't want to deal with graveyard hate all the time. We just want a little incidental and not really full-fledged focus. So let's just exile the creatures. No problem. We've got some Claim to Fame in here. Just one copy because you don't want to just draw it dead. So, you know, we'll hang on to it. It's fine. Inscription of Ruin. This is a very, very good card versus anything that I've played it against. It seems to generally just never be dead. It's always useful. So opponent can discard. It's a charm effect. You're not looking at kicking all three. You're looking at the best thing for your situation. So you can return a Magmatic Chandler, two or less creature. Magmatic Chandler is a real good one. You can kill a creature CMC 3 or less. There's a lot of them. This is hitting all the things. Basically, it's hitting all the things, eliminate hits, but for one CMC more, you've got that as an option. What if you don't need eliminate? Fine. So that's where we're looking. If you don't need eliminate, then you need something else. So that's when you return your Magmatic Chandler. That's when you make them discard when they're holding up a counterspell. Just force them to use that counterspell because you're just like, I'm just going to rip your resources apart. And that works very well. Just when you got nothing better to do, I'm just taking everything you got, put you in top deck mode, and that's exactly what we're doing with it. Couple Wrath of Gods, that's just for those decks that just go, look, my hand's empty on turn 4. It's like, yep, so's your board. That's the result of that one. And then at the end of it, we have Cup to Ribbons, just a creature removal spell that we can discard if need be, and still have an aftermath that might be just that touch of reach at the end of the game that we need. So that's really where that comes. And 4 damage, no joke, obviously. It's pretty good for getting rid of a lot of things. When it comes to lands, lands are mana producing lands. Nothing really special there. Just get the mana out real early and go from there. 4 mana is obviously a tight point with the fast lands, and we've got a number of 4-drops. So yeah, it can be tight, but I mean, we'll try to finagle that. We can work around it. Anyways, that's the deck. Let's get into some games because my other deck was just horribly matched up. I was going to play another deck today. Horrible matchups the whole way. I'm like, you know what? I'll just play something different. You know how it is. Wrong deck choice for the day. Play something different. We're playing this one. Okay, we're on the play. We have a couple pushes. We have no red mana for our Kroxa, but we can get a Sunscourge in time based on our next land draw. A couple pushes, Dark Tactics. As long as our opponent's a creature deck, we're good to go. Sure, take the run the risk. So what's our opponent playing then? White? White nothing. Well, crap. We chose poorly. Our opponent, second white, mismatched planes. Did I just like pick the wrong hand, period? It's mono white, right? We can just like eventually kill something, right? That matters. Okay, our opponent decided to hand the turn back to us finally. And we have not drawn our third land, but have drawn something that we cannot cast because of reasons. Our opponent's going to cast another Mind Stone and a Birth of Meletis. Luckily, our opponent isn't doing anything worth mentioning, which is good for us. There's our third land. Okay, well, we'll set her up on red and make our opponent just straight up discard 2 cards because I'm not interested in your horseshit. A Banishing Light and a Cleansing Nova. We're against the mono removal deck. Okay. Reliquary Tower, because they expect that to last. Soul Guide Lantern, so that might... Is this just a hateful pile or something? Like, I'm trying to really grasp what our opponent's aiming for here. You know what? I'm just going to pay some life and then gain it back. Keep push open, for what it's worth. I mean, is this why they're going to leave Soul Guide Lantern open? Is because Sunscourge Champion or something? Whatever. So they're going to fire all their removal and hatred on this one Sunscourge Ixalan's Binding. I'm glad I only have 2 copies and I can discard the other one. So our opponent hasn't done anything worth mentioning and they're down to 1 card minus these Mind Stones and Soul Guide Lantern. We definitely do not want to fire up Kroxa at any time. Yeah, though we have no graveyard. We're never going to have a graveyard. White. We've got double black, double red. I'll make this double white. And we'll just hang on. Like, we can kill most of their things. This kind of deck is what's it going to be? Solemnity? We can make them lose life, I guess. What's our card that we need for this? Like Liliana? Probably Liliana. But they're not doing anything. Obviously, we have a lot less to do in these particular matches. Come on, crack it. Yes. Fuel your hatred. They just got nothing but removal. It's a removal pile. They got nothing. Boop. That's a good draw, actually. Ixalan's Binding, Cleansing Nova, Sell the Wreckage, Soul Guide Lantern. Get wrecked. That was way too easy to do. Way too easy! We're on the play. We have perfect mana right now for 2 lands. Sure, let's go. Concealed Courtyard. Our opponent with Giant Killer, I guess. Let's throw a Kroxa at them for now. Figure out what we need to kill later as we can follow up next turn with either Sunscourge, Inscription of Ruin. Like, we've got options next turn. Very, very clean options. Seasoned Hellblade is definitely one of those options. So we're going to play Sunscourge for now, just to deal with the Giant Killer. And then we'll Dire Tactics afterwards. If their plan is to stall by just tapping with Giant Killer, then we can Dire Tactics anyway, after just taking 3. So no big deal. We can make them discard. Our card's free. We just got rid of 2 creatures. I'm cool. Donto Vanguard. Of course, it's all these creatures. Do I just make them get rid of their last card so I can work with this hand better? Or do I just make a... No, I just make a gigantic Sunscourge Champion. Screw that. Bloodchief's Thirst is basically useless. So this is... After we nuke down some of these other creatures, we'll probably be fine here. Okay. We gain our life back. We've got a 4/4. They can tap down theoretically. The creatures are really, really, really resilient, which makes things much harder. We do have counterplay for them. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So I definitely want to get rid of this guy, but not really that much worth it. Let's get rid of some of their cards in hand. Let's see what they don't feel is worth it. Ranger of Eos, sure. We're going to get rid of Giant Killer. And now our 4/4 actually works. Unless they find another one and chop down. Anyways. 4 cards in the yard. Working our way up. They can't beat the 4/4. I guess. This is a nice, reasonable hand. Lots of card advantage and a removal piece at least. Pass the turn. Let's go. Our opponent's playing... Looks like with that kind of avatar, stuff I'm really not interested in dealing with. A lot of go wide. This is probably the matchup where I'm going to be waiting for Wrath of God to show up. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay. Alright, well, we'll push this, and then we'll get Magmatic Channeler down so that we can do that hunt for Wrath of God. I have no problem nuking my own creatures if our opponent's going to play 15 of them. I'll sacrifice my 2 creatures to not lose the 15. Seriously? A fight spell then? That's what it is? Don't call a Serpent for 1. I guess. Inscription of Ruin's pretty good at getting rid of that. We have no second black mana. I feel like this is not helping me at all. Alright, I'm going to just get rid of the Siege-Horn Ceratops. It's just... It's asking to have a fight spell hit it. I'm just not interested in that kind of life right now. Magmatic Channeler back for the Stonecoil Serpent. I don't know if there's some sort of mutate deck. We'll find that out sometime. Wrath of God again, valid for that particular type of deck. Hungering Hydra. Looks like a Fight God deck. Just no black mana. Alright, this is a Specter Shriek because we definitely need to deal with their payoff. That's just big dumb creature deck nonsense. Alright, well, we'll just get rid of the Giant Greathearted. They have no interaction. Let's just make sure that we get rid of the nonsense. This card's useless to us. Get rid of it. And I'll just let them, I can't let them choose. That's not allowed. And now they're Yorgoing me. We're just lacking so much black mana. Nothing we can do about it. Hungering Hydra. Whenever it's dealt damage, put that many counters on it, so we have to kill it all at once, is what you're telling me. That's one good way to kill it all at once. Easy. Get wrecked. Okay, so we're very much blocking that kind of nonsense. You don't have trample, do you? Nope. Cool. Sure. Block, block, block. Alright. So we lose Glint-Sleeve Siphoner and we kill their board state. And they have no cards in hand. Bye. 4 cards. We have nothing we can do with Magmatic Channeler. I guess Kaya was good enough. Kaya's real good for 1-drops. That was technically a 1-drop. Okay. Kaya, one of coming in clutch. Real clutch. We have plenty of stuff to kill them, but man, that was too perfect. We're on the play. Wow, we're getting a lot of on the plays. This was the right deck to play. Okay, we have some Fatal Push, we have some Channeler. We have some choices with these flip lands. The moment that I turn this red land into a white land, or this black land into whatever. The moment I flip one of those into white mana so I can play Sunscourge, I will never draw the second red source. That's how this is going to go. Anyways, turn 1, black mana, go. Not auto pass, please. Oh my god, somebody's playing something turn 1 and it's dead. Okay. That makes everything much easier to do. We'll just play that instead. Here you go. Have this. And why do I have a stop there? Sunscourge Champion. Easy blocker versus a Pridemate deck. We get down to Chandra. Hopefully we slowed them down enough that these kind of cards are basically useless. And our mana is pretty perfect, but I would like a little bit more in life. You know what? Can we find something other than Sunscourge Champion here? Oh, fine, alright, I'll take it. This is an easy block versus their Pridemate deck cards. I want, like, if they pump it up to 2, yeah, fine. I will totally block it. Okay, they're going to baby their Pridemates, which is going to be easy day. This is going to be an easy day. So, Chandra. There's no stops here. If you're wondering about priorities and if they have something to protect, they do not. So we tick up for mana, use our cut, good to go. Swing it. And our card Advantage Train is going to get going now. Glint-Sleeve, Magmatic Chandler, Chandra, we're good. Priest of the Forgotten Gods, most certainly a card that we want to get rid of. Hideous Pontiff is most certainly a card we don't even remotely care about. Bloodchief's Thirst, real good. Let's take a look at the top. Top is claim to fame. We have deal damage. Okay. Nothing we can do about that one. I'd say let's discard with Magmatic Channel this Concealed Courtyard. It's a tap land, don't need it. We'll take... Missing a little bit of white, I suppose? Aren't we? Yes, white. We're missing a little bit of white, so we'll white up. We'll go. And then we'll Bloodchief's Thirst the Priest of Forgotten Gods. Off you go now. And Sunscourge Champion comes into play. Easy peasy. And attack with Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. If they kill Sunscourge and get Chandra for 2, so be it. I'll just gladly have this here. Another Priest of the Forgotten Gods. Doesn't really matter. Throw Sunscourge to it anyway. They want to throw this attack, I will absolutely accept. We don't have the energy for this. They do have some sort of stop. Look at the top card. We have another Magmatic Chandler. Yeah, sure, why not? Don't need the sending the Glint-Sleeve. I want to do something about it, fine. We're working with Chandra here. Priest of the Forgotten Gods is not going to do enough that Chandra will, like, whatever. We can't handle Priest nearly as well, so we'll just do this. If they wish to sack, so be it. Who cares? It's fine. Yes, we want to deal with that one. Thank you. And I'm happy with that. Chandra at 7. What are you going to do? Soul Warden, you got it. Veto, you got it. Yep, sure. So, some silly veto combo. Yep, sure. We'll be breaking that up real soon. Real soon. That said, they do have an indestructible creature, which makes things a little difficult. Emblem. I suppose this is whenever you cast a spell, I can just kill the veto right now. It's no big deal. I don't have to cast Wrath. I've now got the emblem. Kill the veto, get it out of our picture here. Ribbons for just ribbons, but that would kill our black mana. I'm going to get rid of Wrath. We don't need it anymore. It's going to be totally redundant here. Let's just make some 4/4s. It'll push. Fast Glint-Sleeve, fire to veto. Obviously, there's a timing thing here. And they don't get their indestructibility. With that in response, Soul Warden in play. You know what? I don't even care. Sure. Here, have these. Alright, they're at 6, which means Ribbons is lethal. Ribbons, yeah, we're good. We have these sources on the board that can get extra cards that'll cast spells if they even get above the life total required for Ribbons to be a lethal spell. There was only one game I didn't show. It was versus a mono-white enchantment tribal. Basically, I'm playing a million O-rings and, you know, that kind of deck that just wants to defense you to death, and it's just impossible to break through. And if you had any way to deal with artifacts and enchantment hate, like if that's the kind of thing that you had, then their deck just falls apart like a house of cards. That one. Well, apparently I don't have that here. What do we have in here? Dress, sure. Grafdigger's Cage makes sense. Rest in peace for some graveyard. I understand that Kroxa exists. We can make our own judgments there. Also, Liliana's downtick matters in that sense. These are things that we just judge. Feed the Swarm for their enchantments. Okay, that's one option. Noxious Grasp. That's another option that we would have had. Shredded Sails wouldn't matter too much against the particular deck I ran against. Like I said, this is a weak point. How do you deal with the artifacts enchantments? Damping Sphere for... I was considering things like... I don't know what Damping Sphere is for, but if anybody plays spells, I want to make sure that it's freaking covered. Phoenix, whatever. Timely Reinforcements for red, Necromentia for the combos, and Campbell is probably one of those cards I would also bring in versus that match to keep their life total low when they keep firing that stuff off. Yeah, okay, so that's just one of those random decks that I guess I run into. Yeah, Constellation, Mono White, just being really, really annoying. But otherwise, like the matches we ran into, this sideboard is sufficient. The main deck was, in some cases, often sufficient. Perfectly lined up. The lower to the ground the deck is, the better we do. So those greed piles, the real greedy, I'm going to cast Ugin and all that stuff, those are our worst matchups. The decks that look more like an Eternal format deck and not just ramp with no interaction, yeah, the ones that look more like Eternal format. The Primate deck is one of those decks that we're happy to run into. It's just like, yeah, get your tired deck out of here. It's going to die. New sheriff in town. And that kind of stuff. That's what we definitely want to run into with this, is to knock out those kind of decks. So, certainly great where we can just play quick interaction. It is similar effect in... like the standard rogues deck. Just play a deck that's low to the ground fast enough. Mono Blue Tempo is a very popular one, as is rogues in historic. And this is the kind of deck that'll take one of those decks down, no problem. So yeah, that's what we want. We want fast decks. This is a fast deck. No, as long as it's not big creatures, where Cut to Ribbons is tough, or Inscription of Ruin or Kaya is just, you know, these are dead cards at that point. That kind of thing. But anyways, yeah, it's a toolbox deck. Enjoy, all kinds of random things. Here's all my suggestions, sideboard suggestions in general. As I said, I generally play best of one, but anything that I observe over the course of playing it, then I'll add to the sideboard. Cards that are just really, really, really helpful in that sense. Maybe a few pluses and minuses based on what you see, but overall, that's just a few suggestions. It's always just play to what you run into. All right. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.